Hello, welcome to NorCal Strength Studio, home of, it's in Los Gatos, California. We specialize in high-intensity strength training, so come on in whenever you guys want. Today we have Ted Harrison, owner and operator of Vital Exercise out of Essex, United Kingdom, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, he's an entrepreneur, former amateur bodybuilder.
Correct.
And, what is this? An all-around good chap.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case. I am. I'm 100% good chap.
Welcome, Ted. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. How's the weather like
good
over
to be
there?
here. The weather is English.
Yeah. So it's like cold and...
Yeah, it's supposed to be, we're supposed to get what's called an Indian summer, which is supposed to be a little bit extended normal summer. But as usual, it hasn't materialized.
Yeah, that's what we have right now, Indian summer. So it's pretty cool. Ted, so tell us more about yourself from your early age to the formation of Vital Exercise, how you were exposed to HIIT. So who is Ted Harrison?
Well, I started training myself, got very interested in Bruce Lee back in the 70s. I'm 56 myself now, so that's it's a long time ago. And I got involved in martial arts and big fan of Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee was a huge fan of weight training. So I got that was my first introduction to it, and started doing a little bit of weight training. And after a few years, I stumbled on my first muscle magazine. And it had a picture of Mike Mentor on the cover, which was very striking. And I think that's the experience of a lot of people, particularly in the bodybuilding world. They see a muscle magazine, they get very inspired, or in the later years they see Arnold in a movie, or But this was before Arnold was Arnold as we know him,
Right.
So I got very inspired by that and got involved in the whole bodybuilding thing, and started to put a little bit of muscle on, and one thing led to the other, and I eventually opened my own Nautilus gym in, I believe it was 1983 or 84. Imported a lot of equipment over from the States, from you guys, and have run that very successfully for a number of years, competed in some amateur bodybuilding, and then got out of the business for a while because I had to get involved back into our family business, which is unrelated to strength and conditioning and exercise. But I always maintained a very well-equipped garage gym, a garage gym. And I used to train people out of there concurrently with my other business. And then some years ago, I got out of that business and opened Vital Exercise. I retired for about 6 months and was running out of money very fast, as you do when you don't work, because as my friends say, you walk out the house and you spend £20 just walking out the door. So, you drink coffee in these coffee shops and do all this stuff, and all of a sudden I'm patting my pocket. So I thought, well, what do I know best of all? What am I known for? And it was training. So I got back into the exercise business.
So I realized a few people that I talked to that actually is involved with HIIT, they do it because the passion for it. They love working out people. They enjoy HIIT. I mean, the science-based, evidence base of the workout. That's what they truly love. Now, going back to Mike Mentor, and you said you competed in bodybuilding. Now, what kind of protocol did you use to get in the best shape of your life when you were competing as an amateur? Was it like purely the ideal routine, a mixture of your own?
Initially, when I started training, I got very involved in the sort of Weeder principles and all the bullshit of 6 days a week, and of course I got nowhere. I was very, very thin and couldn't seem to put weight on. And then I started training more like the Mike Mentor, his original sort of 4-day split, and immediately saw results. And that was the approach I used on myself and for many of my clients in my gym back then. And that's the approach I used when I done my first competition was the Mike Mentor approach. So I sort of stuck with that for a long time. But I also had exposure where I used to come out to California, to Santa Monica in the winter time, and spend about maybe 2-3 months at a time and train in Gold's Gym and World's Gym, when Gold's Gym was on 2nd Avenue, 2nd Street, something like that. Wow. Train there and in World's Gym. So I got exposed to a lot of other types of training. I'm quite eclectic in my mix. At heart, I'm a HIIT guy, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But I sort of experimented with different things. And then one of the formative things that happened to me was I was lucky enough to get to train with Vince Gironda.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I took one of his 3-day courses, and he was still alive at the time, and he trained me personally, which was fantastic. So that had a huge effect on me and my style of training, particularly directed towards hypertrophy. You know, I very much value mentors and the traditional Arthur Jones high-intensity workouts. I think they're great. I still use them. But I have used Vince's approach, particularly the 6x6 and the 8x8 type of training, which I find more conducive towards producing hypertrophy.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Could you elaborate more on that workout protocol? I've heard of Vince. I just don't know anything about the guy other than his beautiful physique.
Well, yeah. Essentially, Pat, it's you pick a particular exercise. It could be a compound or an isolation exercise, and it's generally one exercise per muscle group on the 6x6 or 8x8 protocol. So you would do, for instance, dips, okay? And you will perform 6 repetitions, and then you rest. The key is the interval, the rest interval between. So the better you get at it, the less that becomes, the less the rest is allowed. So I would say you do six repetitions, and then you rest for, the way I do it is 6 breaths. So you do 6 reps, you rest 6 breaths, and you do it again. And then you do that for a total of 6 sets. The beauty of it that I like about that style of training, apart from the fact that, in my opinion, and I say that only in my opinion and of the people I train, it produces great hypertrophy results, is that I like the fact that the interval becomes as important as the actual movement itself. So that the art of doing it is using that rest interval and minimizing it so that the pressure and tension is kept on the musculature for an extended period of time. And if you think about it, I was thinking about this today and thinking about this interview, that it is a kind of a relation to rest pause training, right? Mental rest pause. It is a kind of a relation to that, in just the sense of it's a number of repetitions with a small pause and go again. So the way I do it, which is slightly different to Vince in a lot of ways because I use machines too, which he wasn't a huge fan of. The way I do it, I like to term it volume and brevity combined, because you can do a set of 6x6 in as little as, a few minutes. Right. So it doesn't, I'm not going along the road of huge volume. It's still a compact workout, a workout well under 30 minutes, many times 20 minutes. You can do 3 or 4 body parts with the tension maintained on the muscle. And it works very well. And a lot of my training for my clients that desire hypertrophy is based along those lines. A lot of my training itself is varied. Sometimes, just one set of 3 exercises. Sometimes I'll go 6x6, depends.
Oh, nice. Well, I got to give that a try. I've never tried that before, but I'm all about hypertrophy right now.
Yeah.
Hey,
what percent of 1 rep max is he doing with 6x6?
Oh, so what percent of 1%? What percent of a 1 rep max are you doing for a 6x6?
Well, the first thing you do is you throw that concept out.
Okay.
I never test 1 rep max. I don't like that. I think the best way to do it is to allow a few workouts to develop a feel for it, So you go in not expecting to have the greatest workout of your life the first 2 or 3 times you try it.
Right.
Let's say you can do, 150 pounds on a chest press machine. Then stick 120 on there, try 6 sets of 6, start with a 30-second gap, and see how that feels, and allow the organic process to happen rather than doing it by rote and paper and this, that, and it has to be that way. Allow the system, because your body really doesn't give about any of that. It needs to feel this workout, feel the tension over a period of time,
right,
and experience that. So allow a certain amount of time. So choose conservatively to answer your question, and go from there and allow yourself a few workouts to get it right.
Also want to get back. I'll give that a try. Now, you've had a gym, you said, since 1983. And so you were probably one of the forefront HIIT pioneers in the UK, I'm assuming, right?
As far as I'm aware, there was maybe 3 or 4 Nautilus gyms in the UK at the time that I had mine. Yeah, so I was, I was.
Were you pretty busy back then? Was it HIIT pretty popular back then?
Yeah, I mean, because, Nautilus I don't think Arthur Just, he may have just sold the company, I'm not sure, but it was still, pretty much old school, old blue, solid, second generation equipment and some first generation. So clients liked the brevity of the workout, and it appealed to people because I wasn't expensive. It's always been very good, result-producing workout overall, and good for business too.
All right, so real quick, if everyone can see that picture of that young, handsome, good-looking chap right there.
Who is that?
I have no idea, but I was going to put him up on Man Crush Monday. Now, real quick, what year and how old were you when this picture was taken? Because, boy, you look amazing there.
Thank you. That was 3 years ago, so
53?
53, 54, okay. Something like that.
So, I'm 50, and I'm sure I have some 50-year-old viewers. They might want to, get in touch with you and, find out your secret there. So anyway, have you heard of a little guy by the name of Dorian Yates? I think it's pretty, I don't know if he's big in the UK, but have you ever heard of him?
I'm familiar with him. Somewhere, I've heard it somewhere, I don't know where, but yeah.
Have you met him?
No, I have not, no.
Now, so I'm assuming you haven't been to his gym at all then, right? Have you gone
No,
to
he's in Birmingham up the road,
far,
a couple of hours from us, so I have never been there. No, I'd like to.
I would love to go to his gym. I think his gym's no longer there. I think his son's running it right now. It's at a different location. So since Dorian, because the biggest bodybuilder that came out of UK, and what has he done in terms of bringing HIIT into UK? Has it opened the doors? People are more aware of it. I know his version of HIIT is, it's nothing like Arthur Jones or Super Slow. It's a little bit more, I won't say ballistic, but it's a little bit quicker. What do you think? It's
very similar to the high intensity training I saw Mensa do in Gold's Gym. It wasn't as controlled as I thought it would be. 2 seconds up, 4 down. It wasn't that in reality. It was just going for it. And I think Dorian Yates, goes that way with it. I mean, he's formed his own ideas, his own style. But of course, huge poundages, massive intake of substances. I'm not against that. If you want to do that, fine, that's up to you. I don't moralize that. It's not my way, but if you want to do it, it's up to you. So all of that combined with massive poundages has had its effect. As far as him, I think the UK, particularly the young boys and men who are involved in training, are more aware of high intensity training because of him. Was he 6 or 7-time Mr. Olympia?
Six. Now, has it affected your business? Like that? Oh wow, look at this guy, Ted Harrison, Vital Exercise. He's been doing it since '83. So I'm sure you've been doing it a lot longer than Dorian. This type of workout.
Because I never advertise my business, I have a website, but I don't. I work on referrals only, and many of my clients are elderly. As well as young lads and girls that want to get in shape. I do have that as well. People aren't really aware of me, you know. They come in and over the course of...
Don't be too humble. You know, Lawrence Neal interviewed you, so you come on. Lawrence Neal, you're on the map, buddy. Come on.
I'm on the map, am I? Well, I've had a few guys come visit me. I've got some Skype clients because of Lawrence's very kind, you know, a couple of interviews, and also with Bob Whalen. Heard of Bob Whalen? I've done his podcast a couple of times.
Bob Whalen, that name sounds so familiar.
NorCalStrength.com.
Oh.
He's awesome.
Right,
Bob is a legend, and he interviewed me. So I've had, you know, some guys come down to visit me, Skype clients and stuff. But the day-to-day of my business isn't, it's based on my ability as a trainer, and the way I approach things is learned when you get to know me, you know.
Right. So currently you said your clients are mostly older clientele? Because it really works. HIIT really does work for the older clients. I mean, the significant strength gains they get from week to week is amazing. Are you getting the
Yes.
same? Yeah. So what kind of clients do you have? Like, besides being old, any MS clients, Parkinson's, of that nature?
I mean, probably 50% of my business people are over 60, 70, you know. So I have people with one gentleman who's got very bad hips, just had a hip replacement, and the other one is about 75% degenerated. So I'm working with people like that. I have some clients who are recovering from chemotherapy. I have my oldest clients are 84. I have two ladies who come in. They're both 84. Come in together and train. So I work across the board. A lot of the guys that I train are retired and they're into golf. So 3 months on the lower back machine and building up their leg pressing strength and shoulder strength has a great effect on their game. So they like that, and weight loss too. I've had one client in his 60s who's just lost 50 pounds, of body fat. So it works, provided the diet is followed, as you know, right?
Right. And that's what, everyone thinks there's this magic bullet that, it's like, oh, what kind of extra? I tell them, you know what? You got to get your diet in line. And they're like, it's like, come on, you got juggle here. So currently, what type of workouts are you doing now? Are you just doing the big 5 movements?
For the clients?
No, for you, yourself. Because guys like me who is 50 years old would like to know the secret. I want to look like you when I'm 53, by the way. I'll look like that.
Okay. All right. I approach my training now very loosely in terms of my plan. I go in and I do. I have an idea of what I can use, weight wise. I know the kind of mood I'm in. I know the kind of intensity I can bring to it. My benchmark now is not 1 set to failure. I do that. In the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've done one workout. The last workout I did this Sunday was 1 set of leg press, 1 set of overhead press, and 1 set of chins. In the lower back. The time before that was 6 sets of dips, 6 sets of tricep push downs, and abdominal work. I think the one before that was 2 sets of 10 on all the machines, 6 machines. Right. So, it's very loose.
Well, at least you're open. You're open to other forms of exercise. That's because right now, as I exercise myself, I'll either go back and forth from full body workout to full, three-way split. It might take 14, 16 days before I work out another body part. Just depends how hard I trained it. No, yeah, I'm pretty flexible. I haven't done the body weight workout though. I just can't get myself to do something like that. It just seems so. Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, sure.
Really? And?
Yeah, it's great. I've never done the Drew Bay one, but I've done lots of push-ups and chin-ups and body weight squats in my time. Yeah.
And very slow, I'm sure. Slow controlled.
A lot of slow. Yeah. It works, man.
Oh, I'm sure it does, but it just seems so, gosh, tedious. The amount of work that, I remember, I think David Landau was being interviewed by Lawrence Neal, and he was asked, body weight exercise. You know what? If you have weights, just use the weights, So
Yeah.
I guess I'm the same way. Now, do you still use barbells?
Well, in my gym at the moment, we have cables. We use also cables, and we have kettlebells, but not for swinging. I just use them to hang around my belt or my client's belt for negatives, and
Door stoppers?
and we can do curls with them.
Door
So I'm not swinging them. Don't worry. But I am in about 2 months. I'm moving locations to a bigger gym.
Nice.
And I'm going to have much more free weight stuff in there.
Yeah, currently my gym right now just have mostly machines and a power block dumbbell, but I would love to have other, because my home gym actually have more equipment than my studio. 'Cause my studio is only 450 square feet, so I can only put in so much. And I remember from your interview with Lawrence Neal, your first studio was like what, 300 square feet?
Yeah, it's 350. That's where I am now.
Right now.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in that facility?
Over 4 years.
Wow. How many machines do you have in that 350 facility? 350 square feet?
I have leg press, chest press, compound row, pull down, overhead press, lower back, and chin and dip unit.
And then you probably have a dumbbell, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I have dumbbells and stuff like that too.
Yeah, so that's about
littered around.
That's 8 machines. But when I look at the picture of your facility, it looks like it's pretty compact, but you got some room to move.
Yes. It's just laying it out. It took a long time to come up with that layout.
Yeah.
Around, lower back here, there, and everything, so that the center section is maintained free for body weight stuff and stretching.
Oh, gotcha.
We do a little sort of modified yoga routine we do. And, of course, I have an Airdyne bike, right?
Right. I love that. I love that. How often do you use that Airdyne? Do you incorporate that once a week? A lot. Oh, once a week at least? More?
Yeah, at least once a week. I've, in my training career, I've done mostly everything, 20 rep squats and full body Nautilus. I've used the duo squat. I've, done a lot in my time because I've been at it a long time, so I'm entitled to have done a lot, and I've trained very hard, right?
Right.
But unequivocally, the hardest exercise you can do, by far, the most difficult, mentally challenging exercise you can do is the working hard on that Airdyne bike. Yeah, that kills you.
It's funny. You're right, but in terms of, if you push it to a point of fatigue, just like anything else, right? Your body adapts. I remember there's a program in that Airdyne where it says 10-second sprint, 20-second rest, and there's another one that says 20-second sprint, 10-second rest, and both of those is 8 repetition. I remember when I first tried it, the 10-20, I was wiped out. Out, right? Then I'd say about the 4th time I tried the 20-10, it kicked my ass. Did that for a two workout, and then finally I did the 20-10 again, and I felt like, wow, I could go again. So right after the 20-10, I did the 10-20, and it's amazing how your body, even at I won't say advanced age, at my age at 40, when I was 49 doing it, it was still able to adapt to the stimulus and grow and get stronger in terms of metabolically conditioning your body. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great bit of kit.
A lot of older folks. You could tell because you got clients who's like 84, and I'm sure they're still, have they hit a plateau, or are they still pretty much gaining strength, maybe increments of a pound, 2 pounds?
Yeah, when you have clients come in and untrained, who've never been in a gym before, the privacy of my gym is very attractive to people because they don't want to be seen or watched. So, but they're 84 years old, they're very frail, so I start them off very easily. I'm guiding, holding the weights, and and then gradually over time, we had a repetition here, a repetition there, 2.5 pound saddle weight, and just it's very, very steady.
Wow.
Very gradual.
Is it amazing? I mean, when before I opened my own studio, I actually worked at a super slow facility /
Yes.
He named it something else called Safe Strength. And I was training a lady who's 84 years old. Her name's Margot. And, I put her, I timed everything. She was doing a seated chest press and a perfect breathing, perfect form. She failed at about 1 minute and 24. Now, 84 years old, Ted. 84.
Amazing.
Right? 10 days later, she did the same exercise, same weight, same breathing. She went over 2 minutes in a matter of 10 days.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then a light click, because before I was just doing it more like, I just want to get big. But once I was exposed to it, I realized, man, there's something to this, It's just, you benefit so much older folks. Every time I'm walking around, I'm seeing older folks. I'm like, man, if you only knew what it can do for your life. You can get rid of your walking chair. I love it. And it just breaks my heart to see older folks standing up like this, because they have no more strength on their legs. They're using their arms, but their legs gone. And society indoctrinated them to think, oh, just do cardio, don't do anything heavy. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad.
It's very powerful medicine, and it works.
It really does. Hey, you know what I love about your Facebook page is your motivational sayings.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still, you do that every so often, which is cool though, man. I like that. Wait when they want, right on, Ted.
Yeah, I'm very into. I'm a big meditator. I meditate a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of chilled quite a lot, and I like to put in stuff on my Facebook page unrelated to directly to exercise stuff, which is good.
So that picture I showed you of you were 53. Were you meditating then, or you were just a rough and rugged guy back then?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I don't know. Yeah, I was. I've always been very much into it, and very much into gratitude lists and reading good quality motivational books, and listening to Tony Robbins and Dale Carnegie in the car, and I'm very much into that. I think it's very important to be perpetuating, lift yourself up by the self. The self is the self's only enemy. The self is the self's only friend. Okay, so keep yourself up, and all of that stuff helps. But meditation for me is really the one that helped the most, I think.
Now, have you ever heard of that book, Tuesdays with Morrie?
Yes, I have. Yeah, they made a movie of that, right?
I don't know, but I'm reading it right now. I said, wow, what a powerful book.
It's terrific.
It's like, wow, what a great book. Have you written any books, or do you have anything?
Sorry?
Do you have anything currently in the works other than Vital Exercise? I know you dabble into other businesses. Or are you doing anything in terms of in the HIIT or exercise field?
I'm trying to grow my Skype consultation business steadily. People keep telling me that I should write a book about, exercise, but sitting down and doing that has proved to be a bit elusive for me. And I have 2 children. My son is 24 and my daughter is 21, so they're not kids. Actually, she's 22 now. And so my son lives with me. My daughter visits it 2-3 days a week, and my partner, of course, she's a very busy lady. She works in London every day, so we're all very busy. I do a lot of the cooking. Yeah, so my day is pretty full with working at the gym and whatever.
Well, how many hours do you put in your gym?
I open at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we close. The latest I close now is 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock. But I'm a one-man band. I have nobody else to help me, so I have no staff. It's just me.
Wow.
So I've got to put the brakes on at some point because I'm not getting any younger. And I think eventually, if you do too much of it, especially in that small little environment like my gym, as you know, right, it can be a little bit. You get burnt out with it because there's a lot of energy exchange with training, isn't there?
Right.
A client comes in, and depending on the kind of mood, you have to adjust your energy level to that. And they can either pull you down and you've got to lift yourself, or vice versa. So I don't like to overdo it. I'm doing about 40 workouts a week now, 35, 40 workouts a week.
That's a long
and
week.
That's
good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now you said
But the new gym has got a place where I can have a cup of tea. It's got a small kitchen, which is great.
Right. Now are you going to be adding another trainer in your facility, your new facility, a bigger facility?
I think I'm probably going to do another 3 years on my own. I have like a business plan of what I need to get to. So another 3 years on my own, and then I might get an intern or something like that.
Nice. Maybe
to take a day over.
That'd be awesome. So tell our audience how they can get a hold of you, get to know Ted Harrison more.
Well, I have a website, but it's more of a static website with just information about the gym. If anyone wants to contact me, a very good way is to via Facebook on Messenger, or just there's my phone number is readily available on the website. Just contact me that way and contact me directly.
So that's www.vitalexercise.com, guys. Ted,
that's correct.
Thank you so much for this short notice doing this interview. You'll be doing big things. I can't wait.
I love what you're doing, man. It's terrific. You and your brother, you're great. It's terrific.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We like to bring in everyone's opinion on HIIT, not just the big name dudes. Just everyone, like guys like you. I'm trying to get David. Oh, there's one guy you said. I think Steel Tip.
Oh, Ken Leisner.
Ken Leisner. I would love to interview that guy. I'm sure he's a busy cat, though, huh?
Yeah. I'm not sure how forthcoming he is for it, but if I can give you a tip, there's a couple of guys here in the UK right now are opening it's going to be one of the first of its kind in this country, a very unique, high-intensity strength training gym is in the works. It's being progressed now, and it's the Collins brothers, Peter and Brian Collins. And what they don't know about training and coaching people, is not to be said. They're really, really good people, and they're terrific at. They're training people out of their garage gym at the moment, but they're going to open this new business. I'm very excited for them. It's called HIITworks, and they would be great. The two of them are great characters, and they would be great for you to interview.
So you said Collins, Collins, or E?
Correct, yeah.
Collins,
Peter and Brian.
Peter and Brian. I'll give them a call. Anybody else?
Yeah, another very knowledgeable guy who has one of the best gyms in the world, in my opinion, is a guy called James Biddle. And his gym is called United.
Brittle?
And United. James Biddle, B-I-D-D. E-L, I believe, or L-E. James Biddle, United Gym. He's on Facebook. He's a very knowledgeable guy, and you'll like him because he's very. He likes his. He's very into his HIIT. Yeah. Terrific.
Okay. Ted, thank you so much, sir. Let's do this again one day when you have your bigger gym.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can get out of my little tiny gym and expand just like you guys.
I'm sure you will. Keep at it.
Later, Ted. Thanks for the interview, sir.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Take care.